So everyone, delighted to be here for our another episode of Epic Thursdays. This time, all the way from Australia, we've got Georgia Ellis in the house. So stoked to see her. I've been working with her for the past few months on things related to flow states. So it's an absolute delight to bring her here. Georgia, welcome to our Epic Thursday show this week.
So happy to be here. Let's hope it's an epic conversation for Epic Thursday.
Oh, absolutely. So let me begin for those of you who have probably not read the bio. I mean, Georgia has got a very interesting background. She spent 22 years of her life in the corporate world and then decided, I guess she had enough and decided to move on and said, well, now I'm a free agent. And she now takes delight in bending the rules and teaching people how they can work with their minds to help create incredible shifts in people's lives. And in fact, since 2001, she's been exploring the world, kind of connecting the human potential side, philosophy, spirituality, neuroscience, ancient wisdom, quantum theory, epigenetics. I mean, the list is very long. And the whole attempt there is to join these dots to understand what does it really mean to being human. And she, a few years ago, founded an organization called Blue Chip Minds, which is an organization dedicated to helping young people become better humans. And last but not least, amongst many other accolades, she has her own podcast called Alice in Wonderland. So again, Georgia, wonderful to have you here on the show. I guess what'd be useful to maybe start with is, you're labeled often as a mindset leader, right? And I'd love to understand what got you that sort of credential and what do you feel is the key thing? Why are people not sort of focused on this piece of their, thinking and their aspect of being in the best state?
Great question. So how I got that title is a little bit unbeknownst to me, but I can sort of hazard a guess at it. So I've been very fascinated by the workings of the mind for quite a long time and understanding that the mind plays a really big part in the results that we end up delivering in our life. And then obviously Carol Dweck brought out her book called Mindset, and it was a really nice terminology for the work I'd been doing and really fit really nice with the term of mindset. And one of the things I've noticed through the work that I've done, so I before COVID, I did a lot of traveling and running my workshops globally. And I found that there is this common missing link with a lot of people when they're trying to create results, whether it be in a business, in a career, entrepreneurship. A lot of people don't have the awareness of how this magnificent part of us, our mind, actually creates our results. So I've been really fascinated by that for a very long time and have been experimenting in my own way, but also with my clients. They've also been experimenting with the power of their mind to create some amazing results in their life. So yeah, absolutely one of the foundational pieces for us as a collective humanity moving forward, I believe.
His mindset. But I see people have started logging in. So if you're logging in from wherever you are, say hi to Georgia. You don't have to say hi to me, but at least say hi to Georgia. She's actually up quite reasonably late. I think it's post dinner time, right, Georgia, right now in Melbourne?
Yeah, it's not too late though. It's only just after 7 p.m. So it's not too late. And I know it's in your time zone around 1 p.m. So just after lunch. So we're talking on full bellies, I'm guessing.
Yeah, so 1 p.m. here, people have probably just kind of either begun their lunch or maybe getting ready for that siesta afterwards, I suppose. So our discussion today was going to be framed around leading better, learning better, and living better. So if you were to kind of look back and say, look, what's the key thing that has to shift for people to live, to lead, and to learn better? What would it be?
So I think it's not just one magic pill, one size fits all. But I think at the base of it all is a level of self-awareness. So really understanding who we are at the core and what makes us do the things that we do, and are the things that we're doing, the actions we're taking, the behaviors we have, the thoughts that we think, and the emotions we attach to that, are they serving us in our goals? Are they helping us to move forward? So I think that is the foundational piece, is that really understanding why we do what we do, what's been influencing us through our lives to get us to do the things we do, and do we know how to change those things that are driving us? So here's something really fascinating, and you may already know this, Aman. A lot of people don't realize that we can have an idea with the conscious part of our mind, and that controls roughly around about 5% of our outcomes. Yet what drives all of our behaviors sits at the subconscious part of our mind. And that's 95% of what we get in our life comes from the subconscious mind. But here's the thing, people don't understand what's in the subconscious mind. And this is driven by our past experiences. This is driven by our habits. This is where we store our belief systems, our values. This is where our beliefs about ourselves are stored as well. So if we've got beliefs about ourselves at a deeper level around not being good enough, not being skilled enough, whatever we've sort of taken on over our life experience, and we have something at the conscious mind, we're going, yeah, I am good enough. Well, that 5% belief is not aligned to the 95% belief, and you will self-sabotage most of the time. So a lot of people aren't aware of those very basic things and can't understand why they take, one step forward and 2 steps back. And it happens a lot of the time. So yeah, I think that's one of the foundational pieces for a lot of people to consider.
So it's interesting, right? When you say that, a lot of people, and again, I work a lot with entrepreneurs and, CEOs, trying to understand what's holding them back from realizing that innate greatness, that potential that they have. And, what you're saying makes so much sense because they're probably focusing on that 5%, using their intellectual cognitive skills to focus on that. But that 95%, that sort of, latent subconscious thing is driving potentially the majority of their results at the end of the day. So, what could, for someone who has obviously lived through life with values, with their culture, with their experiences and so on, what could they do to begin that transformation? If they realize that, okay, I'm actually being stuck, there are some beliefs, there are some paradigms I need to shift, and I've kind of become self-aware of these things, how do they get started on their journey? So if you were to kind of give advice to someone right now and say, look, guys, if you have at least made that awareness kind of clear in your head, yes, something is there that's kind of sabotaging my potential results, how do they get in that journey now to kind of change for transform?
Yeah, beautiful. Great question. And it's a simple answer, but it's not easy. So the simple answer is that you can reprogram your subconscious mind. So a lot of what we carry around in the subconscious, our values, the culture we're brought into, our belief systems, and what we believe about ourselves has occurred over time through repetition. Okay, it's filtered through and become a belief system and a program, an automatic program, which is the brain's way of going, hey, this is happening a lot, must be important, let me store it. So now what we want to do is look at, well, this is what my program is right now. And here's something, Aman, that if people are wondering, how do I know what my program is, what's running in the background? Look at your results. Look at your bank account, look at your relationships, look at your health, look at all of the results you're getting in your life, and that will tell you what the underlying program is, because basically 95% of your life comes from the subconscious. So that's going to give you a bit of a clue. So first of all, you look at that, you look at your results, and you start to look at, well, what's an area of my life that I would like to change? Because obviously there's a glitch in my system at a subconscious level. So then you start to plan out, and this is where you start to use the conscious part of your mind, the creative part, and you decide, well, what do I want to be, or who do I want to be? What do I need to activate within me? You get clear on that, and you can go through repetition, through meditation, through flow states, all these different ways. You can start to reprogram that subconscious mind to be aligned. So the idea we have up here for the business, the career, whatever it is, now starts to align over time with what's below. And then you start taking the actions quite naturally. But if this and this is not aligned, conscious and subconscious is not aligned, you will self-sabotage.
So let's build from that. In the COVID scenario that we all find ourselves in, when people feel stuck, they feel stuck from a personal perspective, perhaps maybe professional perspective. Entrepreneurs feel their businesses are tanking, or they don't see opportunity. Families have been affected because of homeschooling and everything else. When everything else is affected around you, so it's not just you, everything else is affected. What could someone do to get centered, to sort of take stock of what has to be the essential thing that they can do and focus on that to begin on this journey? Because what you're saying, as you said, is simple but not easy, and I guess it's probably amplified in an environment when it's even more difficult, where you've got like the sort of baggage of the COVID scenarios that we find. So how could people simplify things in that setting or in the world that we live in right now?
Yeah, and it is a really interesting time we're living in right now. And I think one of the important questions you can ask yourself is, what can I control? So when you're thinking about, there's a lot going on out there at the moment in the world that, homeschooling, as you're saying, and all these different things that are changing my world, you get to answer a question to yourself, ask a question, sorry, and then answer it. What can I control? I can either embrace this situation and bring my best version of myself to it, or I can choose to react and complain and not do anything about it and just let the outside world control me. So the first step here would be to think about, what can I control? I can control how I'm viewing it. I can control how I'm responding to the situation. And that then brings you down into a level of calmness where you get to create. Something really interesting for, you mentioned business owners and entrepreneurs that find that, everything's changed right now, whole industries have collapsed. But you'll find there are some people out there that are actually pivoting really well. And so these are the people that you'll more than likely find that they sit down, they think, well, what can I control? I'm not going to let the outside world affect me, but I'm going to see what I can do. What can I do? And not allow it to stress me. Because when we're in a state of stress, we don't create. So if you've got a business owner who's really stressed because of COVID, they're going to find it really hard to come up with new ideas because they're in survival mode. So the first thing is to get yourself in a level of calmness. And I think you have some great tips and tools around that with some of the videos you do around breath work and so forth. So get yourself into a level of calmness, then you can consciously create, and you'll find that you'll get more ideas and potential solutions to navigate, but also be willing to change where you need to.
Yeah, I mean, this is the idea. Letting go of our habits is easier, as said than done. And what you said resonates so well. I mean, someone I know, she said very well that, people who did well in tough times, whether it was the last recession or in, let's say, the depression in the 20s, were people who held the vision and not the circumstances, right? Because they realized that what can they keep sort of staying aligned to, whether it's their value system, their vision, so that they don't get distracted by the noise around them. So let me, with Epic Thursdays and Epic 360, what we're saying is, how can we get people in that state of peak performance? How can we help them optimize their mind, body, and spirit? And I think when you were speaking before the show, you referenced multiple things one could do. So let's say if you were to identify 3 hacks or 3 sort of tips you could give to someone who's listening right now or watching it later that could help them get in that optimized state of mind, body, and spirit, what would you suggest would be the way to get started?
Yeah, beautiful. And first of all, I'm going to say there are no hacks to life, but there are some really good tips and practices. Hacks sort of says shortcut, but for me, there are no shortcuts in life. So the 3 top things I would suggest is, first of all, really getting to practice some mindfulness. So you're dialing down the stress levels. So once you dial down the stress levels, so mindfulness practices would be things like embodied cognition, like yoga or meditation, or find what works for you that calms down your nervous system. Everyone is going to be different. If you can, definitely spend time in nature. Nature has a beautiful way of resetting us energetically. So time in nature, mindfulness, and the third one would be to move your body. Do not sit still. Make sure that you're moving your body. And they're really simple things, but not just move your body, once a day or once a week. Really get some beautiful actions and some movement into your body to move that energy through so that you are actually generating energy for creation.
Yeah, so I think, as you said, for people to slow down when things are moving very fast around us, the idea of going to nature and going deep is really difficult, because people feel that it won't work because they are hustlers in life, for example, and they've seen how things have worked for them. So they're used to moving, or at least think that they're moving fast, when they really are not moving fast, they're probably moving back. And so I'm kind of reflecting, as you said, that what could be useful in, let's take an example, which I think many people may find themselves in when it comes to children, right? So children could come on your nerves because they're focused on homeschooling, and you find that, look, I've got work to do, or I've got some business to attend to. How do you find the right balance between these multiple priorities? I don't know. I don't think it's a matter of time management. It's maybe energy management. What's your suggestion when people feel there's a plethora of opportunities, priorities? What could get them centered? Is it the breath work is one great example, but what else could be done to help people see what can be the right things to spend time on?
Yeah, okay. So that a lot of my clients actually come to me with that issue. I've got so many things going on at the moment. What do I need to focus on? One of the things I recommend, which is really simple to start with, is get all your priorities out of here and a mind map or a whiteboard or something on the wall, and look at it and start putting everything up there. Then you can now determine what's going to be important and what's not. And also link it to your deepest values. So you will find that, you know, you've got people that are homeschooling and also running a business from home or working from home because of COVID. Your deepest values are going to come up at some point here. So is my family my deepest value? Well, then I'll probably put my homeschooling above my work, which means I'm going to give some attention to my child, make sure they're learning. Then I'm going to get onto my work. You'll do that based on your values. You never do anything outside of your values. So get really clear on what's important to you at a deeper level first, map it out, and then pick the things that you are going to give priority and energy to. It's a tricky question. It's something that I think can help people through one-on-one discussions, a really powerful way of being able to help people move through that prioritization, because everyone's different. I don't have children, so, you know, it's really, it's an interesting question.
Well, I was saying, Children, my son just finished his year of school and he was kind of coming to my room and working from home today. So it's like, ooh, I just finished my year of schooling. He's kind of celebrating, it seems, from the fact that he's finished his homeschooling. And now, so I think the few minutes that we have left with us now, I think I was very intrigued when I read that you were doing this interesting course or masterclass, you know, Life Reloaded. I'd love to kind of understand what that is, because that sounds like, you know, to many people who are looking for a reset in their life, it seems to be the right antidote, or at least the right prescription for that. So maybe a few words on that to help understand what can be done.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's an online 7-week program that allows people to basically do what we've been talking about. So we have a look at what are your priorities, where do you want to go, look at all areas of your life, and then we unpack what's happening at the level of the mind. What beliefs do you have that are either going to move you forward or move you back? And then we start looking at different areas of relationships. We look at ensuring that we create the identity that it's aligned to our goals. So it's a 7-week lovely sort of little marathon, mini marathon, to get you up and running and to boot you into the future, whatever the future is for you. So we've got one running right now at the moment, so that's already kicked off, but we've got another one due to kick off on the 25th of August, I think it is. So, and it's all
Okay.
online, which is beautiful.
And then these are like what, like courses that are having live interaction with you or your team, or is it like, you know, video courses that have been pre-recorded? How do you structure this if people are interested?
Yeah, so it's everything. So learning doesn't happen in isolation. So there is self-study modules. Then every week you get together with the cohort, and I keep the cohort small so that you have the ability to learn from everybody else, because that's where we learn through conversation. So we have a lot of conversations around that every week we get together. You also get paired up with one of the participants, so you have accountability partners to make sure you're getting the work done. And you also get coaching sessions with me. So it's all of the above. It's not just one thing, it's everything. This is how transformation happens.
Cool. So if there's someone who's interested, what sort of site can we send them to on your company's website? Is there a particular link that they can access? I mean, we can drop them in the notes afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. So just the bluechipminds.com, it has all the information on there. So yeah.
Okay.
And if we've got any listeners here today, if they want to jump on the August one and get on early, I'm happy to promote and give them a 25% discount on that. And I'll put in the comments, I'll put the coupon code in.
Yeah, just say EPIC, right? EPIC is the code.
Yeah, EPIC is the code. I'll make that. I'll actually go in and change the code to EPIC, and we'll put that in the comments shortly.
All right. So I think the last thing, probably just as we finish off, is what would be a challenge you could set the audience if they're kind of looking to get started? That would be around, you know, helping them get into the right mindset, the right level of optimizing performance over a 7-day period, 14 days, or maybe even a month. I mean, what would you say would get them? They can start off tomorrow or literally after this call if they want to.
Okay, great question. So first of all, change doesn't happen in 30 days. It takes an average of 66. So I'm going to give you a 30-day challenge. And what I suggest people do is, first of all, take some time and write out a detailed description of who you need to be for your goals to be achieved. So write that out, get very detailed. The challenge is for you to then reread that or rewrite it every day for 30 days. Just spend some time and get really, really emotionally involved in this person you're becoming. Because what we want to do is start making that part of the subconscious program. So that's the mindset challenge, is who do you want to be? Now start putting it into the subconscious mind and start being that person.
And what would be the best time? How much time should they devote to it? Like, is it like a 5-minute deep dive? Is it like a half an hour? Is it in the morning? Is it in the evening? What's your sort of suggestion for kind of making it the best?
Okay, the length is up to the individual. So make it fit in with your lifestyle. I did this many years ago. This is how I got my business to where it was. I created this blueprint for myself, and it took me 20 minutes every morning to rewrite it. So I'd suggest whatever fits for you in your lifestyle, and the length of it can be however you want it to be as well. But what I do suggest is, if you can do this first thing in the morning, one of the first things you do when you wake up before your cup of coffee, because this is when your subconscious mind is most susceptible to information.
All right, I think we are done with our time. So Georgia, once again, extreme gratitude for making it this evening your time. I believe we've had a lot of great ideas in terms of how you can shift the mindset, the subconscious, getting to that state of high performance. We really appreciate the guidance. We will drop the links that you've said, and once you have that discount code, we'll drop that as well. So if anyone wants to join the next cohort of Life Reloaded. And again, everyone, for you been watching, this is our whole thing about Epic Thursdays is about getting you into a state of peak performance and self-optimization. So watch us for the next week. We've got great people lined up as well for that. And Georgia, once again, thank you so much, and look forward to kind of connecting with you afterwards.
Thanks, Amana. Absolute pleasure being here.